the founder of Connected Women, a co-founder of Connected Women and CEO. Gina is a social impact tech startup that matches. Connected Women is a social impact tech startup that matches talented Filipino women with meaningful remote work opportunities. She's an unconventional entrepreneur. Really, she's so cool. When you see her, really, she's a cool leader for us. She's a community builder and a technology advocate. Gina is a Gina started Connected Women no, 2011 after relocating in Singapore with her family. Gina launched the Athena Network Singapore and APAC as part of her mission, better equip women entrepreneurs and professionals with technology skills to scale up their business and careers. Gina launched Connected Women in Singapore in 2013. You know, some of this I memorized already because of some of our meetups, because I love introducing her. And then we had our Connected Women magazine in 2014. By 2016, she set her heart on helping Filipino women and moved to the Philippines. So 2017, she co-founded Women Jobs, a social impact tech startup that matches talented Filipino women with meaningful remote work opportunities. So now Connected Women runs a number of initiatives that provides technology skills training and online job matching, and aims to impact 100,000 women in the Philippines. They have received global recognition in the categories of inclusive innovation in Asia and USA, and Future of Work UK, and e-employment in Switzerland. So I will not make this long. I want you to meet her. I want you to know the person that inspired so many women, also who helped us build a community within our network. I'm really, really, really proud to present one of our founders in the co-founder of Connected Women, Gina Romero.
Hi,
Hi, Gina.
thank you. Thank you so much for that really lovely introduction. It's always awkward, isn't it, listening to other people introducing you? It doesn't sound like it is actually you, but yes, that is me.
I told you guys this. We have a very, very cool founder, and you can see her now. Okay, I'll be Gina. Okay.
Thank you. So happy Independence Day to Filipinos everywhere. I am, in fact, half Filipina. I'm half British, and I came back to the Philippines with my family back in 2016. So I'm here in Manila, and I'm really excited to be part of today's event and to be part of all of the different speakers and to connect up with Celia again. So thank you so much for inviting me. I think what you're doing is awesome. So let me share a little bit. I mean, this is a little bit of a top level presentation because it's such a big subject, isn't it? How to survive in the virtual workplace. I mean, I've been working remotely probably for around 20 years now. And I was actually cabin crew. I was a British Airways cabin crew member, and my husband was running an IT company in the UK. And I was traveling around flying, and I was also helping him run our business in London. So I didn't really know that I was already remote working. I just thought that I was, like traveling and doing my normal job and then trying to work while I was on the move. But we actually became quite involved in the early days of remote work solutions. And I realized that women tend to shy away from technology, myself included. And so at some point in my life, it became my mission to really help women to embrace technology and to become better at using technology, because it's so liberating, isn't it? And I think for everyone, technology is liberating and it brings freedom and opportunity. But for women, it really is a game changer, because a lot of the time, and this is a global thing, women tend to want to stay home. If they have kids, or once they want to start having a family, or if they have other responsibilities caring for family members at home, then they decide that they need to spend more time at home. And unfortunately, the traditional workplace doesn't always cater to the needs of women. And so, women are forced to sort of comply with traditional workplace practices, and it's just so difficult to balance your life and work. So I think, remote work and flexible work, freedom to do freelancing or even entrepreneurship or any of these things are a great liberating tool for women. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. So let me share now my slides. There you go. Great. I think you can see my slides. There they are. Great. So this is I do a workshop very rarely because I'm so busy with my other projects, and the workshop is around 4 hours long. So obviously I don't have time to cover all of the tips, but the tips are really around how to hire and manage a remote team. So if you're an entrepreneur, or you're just starting out with your entrepreneurial team, or you're transitioning from an offline business to an online business, and you want to start thinking about remote work and how you can actually grow your remote team, these tips are for you. If you are a remote worker, then I'm sure that you'll also find some interesting insights. But I think a lot of these tips are really relevant to offline or online work. When you think about it, some of the things that we have to, have to think about, have to do when we're building and growing our team will be the same regardless of whether it's online or offline. So let me start. Now, one of the things that I love to do, and I don't think I'll have time to do it properly, and Celia, we do this at the meetups, is we have a section called Who's in the Room. And typically we want to know who you are, what do you do, what's your business, and just so that we can get to know each other. So I probably won't have time to ask you all to share with me directly, but I'd love to know who you are so that when I'm talking through my presentation, I know who I'm sharing with and if it's relevant. So please chat in the comments and just post up a little bit of information. You don't have to tell me all of this stuff, but you can share any of these points. Where are you? What country are you in? What do you do? Are you a business owner? Are you a freelancer? Are you a remote worker? Are you an entrepreneur? And what are you trying to learn today? Like, why are you here at this Global Freedom Summit online today? And what are you trying to learn? So just post those in the comments so that I can see that you're there. And I can see a few ladies saying hi. So thank you so much for engaging with me. All right, so my first tip is all about becoming a Time Lord. So if you're a Doctor Who fan, I'm not actually implying that you're going to jump in the TARDIS and travel through time, but I think the first thing that you need to think about, whether you're working from home or whether you're hiring and managing a team from home, is how do you manage your time? It's really shocking how badly people manage their time. And I think most people don't know where the day goes, right? So you can have a day and you feel busy, and at the end of the day, you say, where did the time go? I didn't even manage to tick off, most of the important things on my to-do list. So I really think that the first thing that you should do, if you have not done this yet, is audit how you spend your time. And this is, if you're a boss or if you're an employee or a worker, whoever, this is relevant to everyone. And when I first had my first business coach, back when I started my very first business with my husband, this was one of the first things that he made us do. So those of you who are time management advocates, you'll know about this. And all you have to do is you take a sheet of paper and you just jot down on the paper everything that you do 30 minutes after. So you set a timer, and every 30 minutes, and then when the timer goes off, you just write down what you did in the last 30 minutes. And you do that for a whole week. And it does take a little bit of effort, but it's so worth it. Because what happens is at the end of the week, you actually end up with a very clear picture of how you actually spend your time. And then what you can do is you can categorize these different types of tasks that you do during the time that you've audited. And then you can see, like, okay, this week I spent like 8 hours just doing small errands, and I spent 4 hours doing emails. And what happens is if you spread your time out all throughout the day, like you check emails in the morning and you check emails again in the evening, you check emails at lunchtime, you keep getting interrupted, and it's actually a really big time sink. So what you don't definitely want to do is do that. You want to try and clump similar tasks together, and then you'll find that magically you'll have more time and you'll be more efficient. But at the very least, I definitely recommend that you do your time audit, because then you will become more clear about how you spend your time. And then what you want to do is you want to plan the week ahead based on how you can be most efficient, instead of going through doing little things all through the day and letting your time manage you. So that's my first tip: become a time lord and own your own time. So my second tip, which leads into from the first one, is once you know how you spend your time, are you spending your time meaningfully? And what I mean is not how many things did you tick off your to-do list, but did you actually do the things that you were supposed to do? And what does meaningful mean to you? So for me, how I spend my time meaningfully means, did I do the things that I love to do, that I'm good at doing, that actually make an impact? Or did I do things that are busy work and I ticked a lot of things off my to-do list, but actually it didn't really make me feel good at the end of the day. It didn't change anyone's life. It didn't do anything to actually improve anything around me. So another way that you can look at this, and I made this up, I mean, there are many different matrices that you can look at, and they're all different. You've got the Eisenhower version, you've got so many different types. But I like to look at it like this. I look at what am I really good at doing and what do I love to do? Those are the things that I should be spending my time on, because A, I'm going to get those things done and I'm going to do them well. They're not going to sink at the bottom of my to-do list. And I'm definitely going to feel healthy and productive and happy with my life if I do that. The things at the bottom end of the spectrum are the things that you're not good at and you hate to do. So if you look at your to-do list tomorrow, or if you look at your diary when you've mapped out your 1 week of tasks that you do, how many things on there are things that live in the bottom of the matrix? If you find that you're really drained every day and you can't get out of bed in the morning and you're demotivated, whether it's your own business or your own, or whether you work for someone else, you'll probably find it's because you're doing too much of the stuff that you shouldn't be doing. That's my opinion anyway. If you agree or disagree, just post in the comments and let me know. But I really think that, you know, when I try and spend my time doing the things that I love doing, then I really, really am productive and I feel great about it. So that's my tip. Now, my next tip is about human and machine collaboration. So I run a workshop called DORA, Delegate or Automate. And it's basically centered around the question that a lot of entrepreneurs ask me. Should I hire someone, a remote team member or virtual assistant, to do these tasks for me? Or should I just automate it? Because, you know, automating things is like a buzzword, right? It's been around for a while. First of all, we had automation, and now we have AI. And so, you know, initially it was sort of using tools that you could automate, things like Infusionsoft, so you could automate the back end of your site, using things like Zapier to automate tasks, repetitive tasks. And then, you know, and now, of course, you have the AI assistants like Alexa, Siri, and Cortana, and I use all of them. And I love it. Anything that I can automate, I want to automate. I don't want to do things repetitively every day in my life. I can actually automate. I'll tell you a secret. I even automated some of the things that I tell my husband and my kids to do. So, for example, at 5 p.m., we have like a Alexa, and it tells my husband to feed the fish. Because I don't want to tell him to feed the fish every day. But I know if I don't tell him, he'll probably forget to feed the fish. So I've automated a lot of the things that I would do myself in my home and also in my business. That being said, no matter how smart the AI is getting these days, I don't believe that we're quite there yet in that robots can basically come and take away most jobs. So this poster is a poster that I had in my office in London, and I don't know if you've heard of these, but they're called demotivational posters. So, you know, there was a trend for having the motivational ones, and it looks like a motivational poster, but actually when you read the small print, it says, if a pretty poster and a cute saying are all it takes to motivate you, you probably have a very easy job, the kind that robots will be doing soon. And I had this, I think it was like 2015. So it was pretty early. And because it was an IT company, the engineers probably found it a little bit funny. But it's not really a joke, is it? Because the reality is if your job is that easy, that all it is pressing buttons, you know, without actually using your brain or thinking, then that job is at risk. Because definitely if it's something that can be sequenced and just built into an automation, they won't need a person to do it. But that being said, there are so many jobs that you want to think about outsourcing to a remote team member. Talented, creative, passionate person will not replace a robot, in my opinion. So at Connected Women, the type of roles that we have are admin, design, development work, finance, sales, customer service, editorial, anything that needs a human touch. And of course, our job platform, as Celia mentioned in my intro, is a platform for Filipino women, because we want to help Filipino women get jobs that they can do from their home. And that's because so many women have to go overseas to look for jobs, and so many women don't have access to the jobs that they need in their local area, or sometimes they've given up really good jobs because they've had children and they have family commitments and responsibilities, and they just can't travel to a physical office anymore. So there's a pool of talent waiting to be hired and work with passionate, sort of enthusiastic entrepreneurs that are out there to change the world. So really think about that. And I think I played with some AI the other day, last weekend, and it was like a content creation AI So you type in, I think it's called Story AI or something like that. You type in the comment or the topic that you wanted to write about, and it will actually generate a whole article just about that random topic. And I read the article, and it was spookily, creepily good, but it was completely out of context. So, I really think if you're a creative, or if you have great customer service skills, or you are, in any of these thinking roles, and you can actually provide support and some creativity and passion to any team, then your job is safe. So that's that. So the next tip for surviving the virtual workplace, which I think is very much a tip for surviving in any workplace, is, hold the vision and trust the process. So your job as a founder is to have the vision for what you want to change in the world and what your ambition is to see in the world. But it's not going to get done through dreaming and wishing and imagining and all of these sort of blue sky things. You're really going to need to build the processes to get it done. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, myself included, we really struggle with the process building, because it depends on the part of your brain, right? So I'm very right brain. I'm creative, I'm strategic, but when it comes to building processes and actually doing very detailed work, I can do it, but it's one of those things that I don't really love to do. So typically I leave it to last, or it never gets done. So I definitely need to work with people who can help me systemize. So systemization really is everything if you want to scale your business, or if you want to just have some work-life balance. If you want your business to run without you personally doing everything, then you definitely need to start systemizing. And I think in terms of online jobs, one skill that is super in demand by all businesses of all sizes is the ability to build and improve processes and eventually automate those tasks if you can automate them. So when you're thinking about systemization, the most important thing from my point of view is you don't want to think about, just systemizing. You can't just say, hi, Gina, look, I love what you said the other day on the talk. Can you help me systemize my business? Well, first of all, I'm not good at systemizing. There are many experts out there that can help you do it. But if you did contact me, the first thing I would say to you is, great. If you want to systemize and automate in your business, show me your processes. If you have no processes, you're not going to be able to systemize anything. So you have to start very much to build the systems up, and then document the systems, test the systems, and then start to build them into some kind of automation. And then you can actually automate. But other than that, you're really going to struggle to automate anything, and you'll probably find that you're stuck doing everything yourself. You'll even have difficulty delegating to a junior staff member or other team members if you're really, really bad at systemizing and delegating. If you're bad at it, please find someone who's good at it, who loves doing it, and then it will get done, I promise you. So the next one, every hero needs a sidekick. So actually that was a tagline from a tool that I used to use, but I think it's really true. I think that, building your team is super important, of course, if you want to scale up your business, but not just building your team, but picking the right team members, of course. And I don't just mean looking for people that have the right skills. I keep going back to that meta matrix that I was talking about. I try to build my team out, or my sub teams out, with people that complement each other really well. I know it sounds really obvious, right? But, think about it. If you are a Batman and you're really good at your creative strategic stuff, and you need to hire someone, because a lot of entrepreneurs will ask me, well, I need to build my team. I need to grow my team. I'm tired and exhausted from doing everything on my own. And I'll say, great, where do you want to start? And they'll say, well, I don't know where to start, because I need someone to do my admin. I need someone to do my finance. I need someone to do my creative. I need someone to build my website. Like literally all the tasks they want this one person to do. And it's not realistic, right? You're not going to find that one person. You might find someone who's a little bit of a generalist and can do a little bit of everything, but they're not going to be super, super good at every single thing. And they're not going to love doing everything either. So definitely what I recommend you do is think about who would be that key person that will really make a difference, make an impact for you in your life. So go back again to that default diary, all the stuff that you jotted down and highlighted that you're spending your time on. And then when you go back through that diary and you're like, wow, I've marked red all the stuff that I hate doing, that I'm not good at doing, you need to compile that into a realistic job description that you can actually outsource, hire someone to do those tasks. Now, a lot of entrepreneurs come to us, and the first person that they want to hire as their number 2 person in their business is sales or marketing. Some of you might disagree, but from my perspective, I don't think a sales or marketing person is the right person to hire first, because probably what will happen is they're going to ask you to help them with, building out your marketing processes, and you won't have time because you're too busy doing all the other admin and finance and other stuff that you hate to do. So I tend to be biased towards hiring an executive virtual assistant. Those for me are the key hire for any entrepreneur, either if you're just starting out, or if you're someone who already has a big team, but you don't have a dedicated assistant working with you, get that person. Get that person and offload as much as you possibly can of the busy work so that you can actually then focus on the important strategic work. And that's when you can then hire your marketing person, because now you can spend time working closely with that marketing person. So think about it. Are you looking for a sidekick, like a Robin to your Batman? Are you looking for a mini-me? If you're really good at doing something, but you just don't have enough time in the day to do that task, and so you need someone who's kind of like you, who can also do that same task really well, then you want to hire a mini-me and maybe train them up. And if you can't afford the time to train a mini-me to get as good as you and as experienced as you, then you might be thinking about more of a Wonder Woman, Superman scenario, where you've just got to work with another expert, and they might be running their own company. And so you have a collaboration happening instead. So think about the different dynamics of your super team as you're trying to think about building your online team. And thank you so much, everyone, for posting your comments. It's really great to see you sharing there. Some from the Philippines, someone from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, someone from Laguna, and a few names that I recognize. Thank you so much for joining. So tip number 4 is set yourself up for success. Now, you don't want to scrimp on setting up, you don't want to scrimp on time or investment in terms of setting up the right tools in a remote team. You have to invest time to learn how to use the tools well, and you have to experiment a little bit with the tools to see what works for you and what works for your team, because there are so many. But this is time that you can't afford not to invest. So please do think about, your tools and what tools. And there are many, many tools out there, but what I would say is you definitely need some kind of collaboration or communication tool, because if you're using WhatsApp or Messenger or Viber or SMS or email to communicate with your remote team, it's not going to be very collaborative. So you're definitely going to need something like Slack or Facebook Workplace or Microsoft Teams or something like that, so that you can keep work separate from all your other messages and really focus and work on collaboration together. And then you might want to think about some tools like LastPass, so that you can easily, safely share access to some of your sites without disclosing your passwords. So those are the 2 things that I would definitely think about to start with if you're hiring your first remote team member, or if you're taking your team online. And so the rest of the tips, I think, are pretty much relevant to most teams, regardless of online or offline. But when we hire at Connected Women, or when we match entrepreneurs to virtual assistants or remote workers, we really, really think about how to bring in people with the right values and people that will fit our culture. We are a hectic team. There's always stuff going on. We have lots of events and programs happening. It's pretty chaotic and busy all the time. And so if someone is more suited to working sort of one-on-one or behind the scenes, or can't cope in that type of environment, they don't really thrive in Connected Women's team. And it's not because they're not a great team member, it's just they're not right for our team. So really think about the values that are important in your team. And these are values of the old version, values of a company called Buffer, the social media scheduling company. And I love these values so much, because I really believe that, in a remote team especially, I mean, these are important anyway, but in a remote team, you really do need your transparency, your positivity, the ability to listen and communicate really, really well, and just, people that are willing to stretch themselves, to learn, but also take care of themselves as well. So all of these, I 100% think that these are great values. Your values could be something completely different, and that's absolutely fine. But when you hire, you need to try and find people that match those values. Don't just look at skills on a CV, because it won't really mean a long-term, meaningful relationship if you just look at skills and experience. And skills and experience can always change, but values pretty much don't change as much. So values that I personally look for in my remote teams: honesty, integrity, curiosity, fun, resilience, and kindness. And I think kindness is a value or a trait that is very often not mentioned. But I think if someone is a kind person, then they'll treat their team members kindly, they'll treat customers kindly, and everything follows on from there. So think about those values and what is important to you in your business, and make sure that whoever you hire is aligned with those values. And the next one is what gets measured gets managed. It's a bit of a cliche, but it's a quote from Peter Drucker in his book from 1954. But I think it's so important, because a lot of entrepreneurs say to me, if I hire someone remotely, how do I know that they're working? And if you're an entrepreneur thinking that same question, you're not alone. A lot of people ask this, like, do I monitor them? Do I get them to do a timesheet? What do I do? Well, we don't do that at Connected Women. I mean, our team, we have over 30 of us, including those who are consultants and project-based and sort of part-time, and including those of us who work full-time remotely. And we're 100% distributed. We even have team members that we work with in Bulgaria, in Ireland, in the UK. So we really are diversely sort of spread around the Philippines as well. And we don't do any of those things. Now, those of you who already do those things in your business, that's fine. Whatever works for you is absolutely fine. But we don't do those things because we really try and focus more on output-based work. So, you know, I'm a person who thinks about my vision a lot more than my day-to-day tasks. And then once I have the vision clear in my mind, then I try and think about how to do it. And you know, I'm sure it's tiring for my team as well, because everything that I share with them is always about the vision. And then somehow together we have to figure out how we're going to actually do it. But I do think that, you know, having a clear vision, and then making sure that, of course, when you're working with your team members, you're communicating that vision really, really clearly. That's, you know, really important in any team, not just a remote team. And if you remember Bill Gates, he had a very clear mission or vision: a computer on every desk in every home. And, you know, most team members would probably run away, because when he started Microsoft and had that vision, I think like in 1980, when he came out with that, Microsoft wasn't huge yet, and it didn't yet take over the world in the way that it did. But I guess he just stuck to that vision, and somehow he got there, almost. So the next tip is really finding the right hiring platform. So if you've decided that you want to hire a remote team member, or maybe if you're looking for a remote job, then you want to think about which hiring platform would be right for you. Now, there are lots, lots and lots, and new ones coming up every day, and they all have different benefits. You know, I mean, Connected Women focuses specifically on Filipino remote women who are looking for remote jobs, because we believe that there's just immense talent in the Philippines, and these ladies, they really look for, you know, they're looking for a long-term meaningful role a lot of the time, or at least freelance clients that they can work with on an ongoing basis. And a lot of the other platforms are very transactional. So a lot of the other sort of freelancing platforms are transactional. And a lot of our clients, they want people that will stay with them and grow with their company as well. So, you know, look at the different platforms and understand the difference between the different types of platforms, and think about which one might suit you better depending on your personal situation for hiring or looking for a job. Hello, hi Greg and Summer and everybody who joined. I love your comments. I will scroll up and read more comments later. I don't want to run out of time though. According to my slides, I still have 20 minutes left, but flag me up, Sally, if I'm running out. So tip number 7, research recruitment best practices. So if you haven't hired before and you've never hired before, I mean, I hired loads of people without knowing anything about recruitment best practices in the beginning. And I literally just, you know, had a conversation with them and had a chat about my business. I didn't do any of the industry things that you're supposed to do. Now that I have a bigger team, I've learned from making mistakes and hiring people that weren't really a good fit necessarily for the team, or who I wasn't a good fit for to work with. And so, you know, I've had to learn as I go along. But I think it is worth doing a bit of research and getting some tips on how to do a good hiring process, and tweak it according to what works for you. But, you know, these are the basics. I mean, you must have a job description. The job description should be reasonable. It shouldn't be 10 people crammed into one job description. And I'm sure the freelancers and remote workers that are listening in can relate to an entrepreneur saying, yes, I want to hire you at, you know, X amount per hour, and I want you to do the job of 10 people in half the time. And nobody wants to take those jobs, you know. I know that freelancers are always saying, and I hear this a lot from our job seeker community, it's so competitive out there. when you're looking for an online job. Trust me, it's also competitive for the employers. We're also trying to get the best talent for our business. So you're not just pitching to us for a job, we're pitching to you. We're trying to convince you that we want you to work in our company if you are, really good and sincere about your work and have talent and passion. So remember that, if you're getting a job, looking for a job, also have your own checklist in mind. Like, what is a deal breaker for me? What am I willing to accept in an employer? If the guy or the lady who's interviewing you doesn't seem right from the interview, don't take the job. You'll just regret it later. Better to walk away from a potential bad job when you know that it doesn't seem right than have to go through the pain of, getting onboarded and then having to leave again, or even worse, getting stuck in a job that you hate, working with someone that doesn't inspire you. So, think about your own process if you're looking for a job. But typically it's as simple as this: shortlist, screen, hire, interview, and make an offer. And you can do all of those things if you're looking to hire from Connected Women. We've built those into our site as well. So almost to the end now. So I think it's very important to invest time in training. Do not assume that just because someone is experienced that you don't need to train them. That's really not true. You shouldn't necessarily need to train them in the area of expertise that they have, but you still need to invest time onboarding them, helping them understand how you like to work, giving them clarity about your vision, and all of those things that I talked about earlier, getting to know them, getting to know what motivates and inspires them as well, so that they're working on projects that they feel excited about. So, the training period of time is really a time for all of these things to happen, for you to get to know each other really well and set yourselves up for a longer term, relationship and a more meaningful relationship with this person. It's not necessarily going to be that easy. One of the sad things is when entrepreneurs hire for the first time, and when I say hire for the first time, I mean they've been working on their own for so long. One of the things that they say is, I tried working with someone like my executive assistant, but it took me more time showing her how to do things than doing it myself. Okay, so I get that. That's normal. When you're spending time, when you're investing time getting someone trained up and learning how to run parts of your business for you, it will take time. It will definitely 100% take more time than if you were going to do it yourself in the beginning. But if you've hired someone good and you've really hired someone who is a good fit for your business and has the right skills and attitude, then in the long term, it should pay off. So just think about it. It really is an investment for the future. This brings me back to my point about my earlier point about training, is that you must manage expectations, your own expectations and the person that you hire. Because if you're not clear about what you expect and if you're not being realistic, it's not going to work out. So whenever entrepreneurs come to me and say, look, I just need to offload stuff from my business. Can you give me good people who can just run it for me? I say, no, please go away because I can't help you, because what you're asking for is not reasonable. And this is the truth, right? I have to tell you the truth about how it's going to work. You're going to have to be realistic and you're going to have to invest and spend time. And that brings me to my last point. Sorry to end on a semi-negative point, but don't give up. Because I also have entrepreneurs that say, well, I tried to hire someone once and it didn't work out. And that's it. They just stayed on their own in their business forever. You really have to be prepared to kiss a few frogs if you want to get a great team member. Like I said, I have hired amazing people in my team who just didn't fit the team. And you know what? It was probably my fault. It probably wasn't them. It was probably the way that I work, or the way that I manage them, or the way that I explain things, or the way that I just am in general. Just didn't suit their working style, and it's okay. So you have to come to terms with the fact that not everyone is going to be the right fit for you. But don't give up just because the first person that you tried to hire, didn't work out. And I have had clients that have hired from us and had a very unfortunate situation, which is a common thing and I have to raise this point because I know there's some of you out there that are guilty, either on the entrepreneur or the job seeker side. And it's that thing where you hire someone to do a job for you and then they vanish. Why does that happen? So either they were afraid to tell you, you didn't explain it properly, and they didn't feel comfortable coming to you to find out, to explain what was going on, and they just left because they were too scared to follow through. Or maybe for some of the VAs, things happen, right? Like your internet connection goes wrong. I had this one lady where she was using her husband's work laptop, and someone took the laptop back because he left his job, and so she had no laptop. She was too embarrassed to tell her entrepreneur that the reason she couldn't work is because is that she didn't have a laptop to work on. So you have to be open and honest and have a bit of courage. If you're a shy person or you find it awkward to communicate, don't use that as your excuse. You have to learn to communicate openly, because like all relationships, it's built on trust and open communication. So, be willing for things to go wrong, and be willing to push through until it works, whether you're a job seeker or an entrepreneur. Know when it's time to cut the tie, and try again. But most importantly, remember that it's not talent that gets us the wins, right? There's plenty of talent out there, but really at the end of the day, it's how you run your team or how you work with your team. So unless you're going to have excellent teamwork and you're going to put the work in, no brilliant mind on the earth can help you grow your business. So, and this quote I love, by Michael Jordan, he said, talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships. And I really, really think that is so true. So I hope that gave you some tips and some ideas about how you might survive in the virtual workplace. And I would love to hear from you. If you're looking to hire or you want to look for an online job, then do visit us at connectedwomen.com. Back to you, Salia.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you very much for that. Another amazing. It's like point by point. Everybody was making comments about how insightful the talk is, and really, we got lots of information and valuable tips from you. And so, can I ask you what is the process if you would want to ask your help? Because for me, like for example, I'm an entrepreneur who might have so many things in my hands. So can you give us like how can you help? How can Connected Women help us with this problem? Because now so many things that we're not really familiar with.
Yeah, I think there's a few guilty listeners out there that know that they're doing things they shouldn't be doing. So, I mean, the first thing is you can go to connectedwomen.com, and we have profiles visible in there. So you can actually just sign up for a free account, and you can already browse and look through some of the profiles that we have in the site. So these are amazing, talented women that have, a lot of them have had corporate careers, so they're really experienced. And just looking for this next opportunity. So do go and have a look in there. And we actually have a free upgrade anyway. So if you want to, if you find a few people that you want to reach out to and potentially hire, you can just upgrade. It's normally 99 USD to actually be able to reach out and contact, but it's free right now. So you can go in and do that. And then if you're really stuck and you cannot do it alone and you need one of our expert team to help you, then we also have a premium service where we basically just help you. We just basically provide you with the best match, and then you take it from there. And actually we offer a money back guarantee as well. So if we match you to someone who doesn't work out, we'll just refund you in full. We're pretty good at matching. So
yeah, because you're pretty good at connecting people. Yeah, this is what we all do at Connected Women, and I really thank you, Gina. Also, will there also be trainings for those who are interested to learn more about giving services for virtual assistants or whatever? Do you still do the trainings?
Yeah, well, we have so much happening right now. So we have a partnership with Facebook, and it's called She Means Business. So that's their global initiative for women entrepreneurs. So that's more about how to use digital marketing to grow your business, and specifically, of course, Facebook business tools and Instagram business tools. So we have our next training coming right up. So if you go and check out the Connected Women Philippines group, then on Facebook, then you'll find out more about the upcoming training. And of course, if you're a freelancer and you want to work with entrepreneurs to help them use Facebook for their business, then that's great for you as well. And it's all free. It used to be offline, but now it's online. And then we have some upcoming online meetups and some other technical training as well for those who are looking for online jobs from home. But there's too many to tell you about. So best to go up to, we have another website, which is connectedwomen.co, just a CO, no M on the end. So connectedwomen.co, and that's where we post all the events in the community related matters. So you can join as a member, it's free, and then you'll receive newsletters from me sharing all the upcoming events and training.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Gina, for your time and for giving us so many tips today. So, for those of you who wants to be connected, especially in your community, join Connected Women. Find the chapter nearest you, and yeah, you'll meet us. You'll meet Gina. You'll meet people there who are willing to help you. This is really one community that helps you thrive. So. Thank you again, Gina, for accepting our invitation and being our guest for this season summit.
My pleasure, and congratulations to you and Fabio and the whole team. I mean, it really is not easy to run something like this. In fact, when I saw your agenda, I said to Bobby, my husband, because he runs the tech side, I was like, oh my gosh, this is very ambitious. But congratulations, you've done a really great job.
And I was telling Bob that I was inspired by the teamwork that you have. That's why, I know that even if you have a small team, as long as you trust them, as long as you are all in the same wavelength and you're thinking of one purpose to help and to be able to finish something that's really good, then the number of members of your team doesn't matter. As long as there's, the right people within your community or within that specific group. Because teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Exactly. And in fact, I love one of the things that JP mentioned earlier in her talk. She said, don't be afraid to fail, right? Or learning from failure. And I think, a great team is willing to make mistakes together and then fix it together. And, like I remember during the speakers talk that you guys had, you just said, well, there's bound to be some blips because it's online, but it'll be fine. And I think that's a great attitude, right? Don't be afraid that it might go wrong because it might not go wrong.
Because it is what it is, but at the end of the day, if you were able to give value, that's it. That's what they will remember. So thank you, Gina, and Connected Women. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for the comments. Bye.
Bye.